Welcome to the Pixelberry Choices podcast, and today we're going to be talking about Slow Burn Chapter 3 Served with Love. So, in the last chapter, we saw that Curl, the restaurant owner of the restaurant which we were trying to save, is mad at us and is ready to end the contract with the show because we're here to renovate his restaurant and revive it because it was not doing well. But when we try to bring back his mom's recipe, and it definitely strikes some nerves in him. After talking with his sister, we got to know that he, after his mom's death, wanted to deal with his grief by forgetting about her, by basically erasing her mom's memory and everything from the whole restaurant. And we can say that Kurt is still hurting inside, but it's kind of at the end. So Zara pushes us that we need to do something. Evie and our main character, without the cameras, we will try to talk to Curl because if this ends, this will be a bad start to the show. And we talk with Curl private, without any camera in private. We talk with him, and we try to drive this point home that we are here to help Curl. Yeah, at first Curl will be furious, but then we'll have to make amends with Curl because we think that we did mess up. We used his mom's recipe without telling him. So now we tell Curl that we will make another recipe for the restaurant, and this time we won't be using his mom's recipe. So this will be a little emotional patch for this chapter, and then we'll get to work. We'll whip up a recipe that is not Curl's mother's recipe, but it is pretty good to open the restaurant. And meanwhile, we will also ask Curl to taste it, and when Curl tastes it, he will be remembering his mother again. Because it's really impossible to not face things. Like, for instance, this chapter is really meaningful, I guess, because sometimes in life, people deal with griefs and hard situations differently. Some people acknowledge it and move with it. Some people try to avoid it, take a way past it, around it. But at the end of the day, I think you gotta face what you gotta face in order to move and move forward in life and with anything. So this chapter is really meaningful. Good old days and choices where you learn things. So slow burn is a classic book of that period, like 2020, 2021, when it was not just about smut and this and that, but plots are really deep and meaningful, and somewhere it connected on a personal level with people and everyone, to be honest, at some point in their lives. So we will be afraid that just think that we also sort of made a recipe that reminds him of his mom, but this time he comes to his senses and he realizes his mistake, that he tried why the restaurant didn't succeed. So in the first place, he lost his passion after his mom's death. He loved his mom to the end of the world, that's no problem, to the moon and back, but the problem is how he reacted, how he dealt after his mom death. So then he sort of understands that it was his mistake to go around it. So he says that he will bring back all the recipes his mom used to make, and even at the end we will see another thing, that his mom's picture will also be in the restaurant, that he tried to sort of erase and forget everything. He thought that would be the best ideal way to move forward and deal with his grief, but that was not. So when he acknowledges it, it was a emotional moment, and we see, like, we didn't think that Evite will connect to Curl on a personal level like this, but Evite was actually able to, because we thought like that's a hardcore personality, always rough, always shaming others and just angry and throwing things, and he or she or Everett or Evite, they won't be able to understand emotion, grief, passion in others, but it's not the case. Like, there is a really good soul, heart lying inside that hard nut of Evite or Everett. So that also tells something about this book, that our journey would be to basically crack that hard shell and get to the soft inside of Evite and expose it so that she or he, Evita Everett, can also grow as a person Not that they're already good, but so it's just like Ethan Ramsey, if you remember, in Open Heart, hardcore, angry, but then basically, what happens. So there are also Justin from Save the Date. Many examples are there, more or less. So that happens, and then we also will help Vivian in a ridiculous dimension because we'll see Vivian is having problems with her coworkers again. They're not listening to them, and we try to stand up for Vivian, but we see that it's meaningless because the guys working are, they're joking and they're not taking seriously. But then Carol comes up with what design there should be, and Vivian puts up an idea, but the guys who are actually working on it did basically reject it, saying it's going to be too much of work. And Vivian asks us to make a choice, pick for her. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't be helping our coworker, but not at the expense of diamonds. I mean, in real life, that's a different thing. But when you're playing game, people try to save diamonds for sometimes outfits can be sneaky and help you on the stories. You get to choose your romance options. Whatever you're saving your diamonds for to up your game. It does say that it will increase the restaurant score, but I think it still was. One of the forced weird diamond choices, but anyhow, if we do go with the diamond choice, the restaurant will be decorated like never before, and we will see the opening night. Everybody will be coming, and then we will see Curl going on top of a chair making a toast, and Curl and Curl's sister bonding like never before. Their mother's picture is on the on the wall, I guess, or somewhere in the restaurant, and like he has accepted the grief. Now he's not moving away from the grief, but moving with the grief and with his mother's memories, legacies. The thing that Louisiana, remember, Evita ever told us, like, it's about the memories, it's about the history, it's about what we care. So he's bringing all those things back to the restaurant, and now it's going to be amazing. So all the new menus he has, and now it's going to be a flourish. So he makes a really emotional speech there to his mom and everybody, and this was amazing. We see some banter between Kurt and the sister. We get to talk with them personally, and then we go out. We talk with Julia a little bit. I do think in this chapter Julia's scenes will cut a little short, but then we also see someone asking about the restaurant, and they are also guests there. We thought so at that time, and then we just tell them, we can reply them with our passion. Like, we'll have the choice, like which one to choose, and we can influence them with our answers, and they will be captivated, and they will say that they'll come back again here. Overall, it will be success. We'll see Yvette there enjoying Julia, and we'll just have an amazing time. We can make it even more emotional. So for that, Zara, it will be gold rating. Ratings will go up. So overall, it would be a complete success, and then we'll be seeing that we're back in the hotel room. We are sharing with Vivian, and basically they're a roommate, and we're scrolling through some. So they're calling Twitter something. I forgot what is chirper or something like that. So they find this alternate, like a parallel universe things, like for Instagram they have pictogram, for Facebook I think they have FaceSpace, and there is for Twitter I think it's chirper, kind of tweeting, birds chirping. So this is pretty interesting how they came up with these terms, and I think, to be honest, let me know in the comments if anyone thinks that. I think chirper would be a good name for Twitter. But anyway, let's get back to the story. And that, so we see that, remember, sort of like we answered to a local or someone who came to eat at the restaurant, or so we thought. That was actually a reporter in disguise, and they wrote about the show, The Taste of the World, and they gave good ratings, and that we're doing good. We improved the restaurant, we opened it again, we helped it survive, and not just artificially, but we actually connected to the root of the problem, which is we talked to the manager, we talked to the owners, connected on an emotional level that I'm stressing on again and again. So that's the main aspect. Like, it feels like home. Like, it's not just something like you go, yeah, fancy dancy, but it actually, like, on a personal level, people can feel connection, and it's really enriching history, everything that Louisiana is about. And so we see that it's really a success. Even before it aired, we are already facing this. And then there was a late night show on TV, and we changed the channels to see if there's something on, and then we see the face of the devil for the very first time, Antoine, who is supposedly the rival of Evader Everett, and they're coming out with their own show. So if we know that there was a beef between them in a show, and Evite left and or Everett left, and they were on a hiatus for a long time, and they're finally now coming back with this bad attitude and everything. So definitely, it took the competition, the rivalry took toll on them, Evita Everett. So now Antoine is coming out with their own show when the taste of the world is still crawling. So what would happen if Evite or Everett come to know that the rivalry is going to begin again? And knowing the media, they know they want the drama, the juicy gossip. They will just pit Antoine and Evite. They will basically spread not rumors, but like they would like them against each other. So this will spin their narration in a way that would seem like they're fighting against each other even when they're not, Antoine and Evite, and this could take a bad toll on Evite or Everett or on the show. So we think of all these things, and that's where the chapter ends. And we know in the next chapter, going to Greece, and the chapter description says, if we don't solve or fix the romance between two couples, two lovers, then our job won't be as easy as we think. So we'll see what's in store for us in Greece. But rest assured, this is a pretty good book. Like in most of the books, are in either New York or in some other place, or in this place or that place. But here we actually are traveling, and the scenarios are amazing. Different places, their cultures, history, heritage, and specifically food. It's amazing how they're bringing it out, with the artworks and everything, and romantic moments, emotional moments even. So, pretty good book. I'm liking it so far. Leave it in the comments, your thoughts, your opinions about this book and this chapter. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, peace out.